Welcome! Well, after the Minidisc Monday mini-series within a series, bad album month last month, I thought we need to cleanse the palate today as we get back to a fortnightly schedule here for edition number 34, and we need to look at an absolute banger, and I believe I've picked the perfect album to show you today. It's not a studio album, it's a compilation, but it's not a singles compilation, it is a B-sides compilation. So I reviewed Super Black Market Clash a few months ago. That was like a B-sides and bonus tracks compilation. But the one that I'm really familiar with in my Minidisc collection, and this is also an album that I now own on vinyl as well, is of course this one from late 1998. This is Oasis and the Masterplan. So Oasis's first compilation album, it came out the year after Be Here Now, and some could argue it was a better album than Be Here Now, even though all the tracks on here had been previously released as B-sides or bonus tracks on Oasis singles. Originally it was only going to come out in foreign markets, United States and Japan, but Creation Records changed their mind and it got a worldwide release and it did well. It got to number 2 in the UK. As I say, I've got a Zoetrope picture disc edition of this album that I bought last year, but I've had this Minidisc version and it is the UK Minidisc. Yes, unsurprisingly, I've been looking forward to reviewing this album. I love it, I've heard it many times over the years, and I still think it's one of the strongest compilations, simply because Oasis, at least in this stage in their lifespan, were putting out some absolute belting B-sides that often surpassed the A-sides in my opinion. But we'll get on to the tracks in a little bit. First a look at the disc and the book and everything else. The case, decent condition. I like that it's got its little hype sticker there, that's nice to see. And album artwork, not an awful lot on the back, no track listing. Here's the booklet, and it's nice how they've done this. People who've got this on CD will no doubt be familiar with this, but they've done it like a school report here, where they've listed each track. They've got all the production details, who it was written by, which is mostly Noel Gallagher for obvious reasons. And while it looks kind of plain, I just kind of like how they've done that. And then bit more of it on that side. Better look at the track listing on this centre page here, and a look at the group in a rehearsal there. I'm going to keep this semi-folded because one thing I don't like about this album, maybe the worst thing about it at all, is look how difficult it is to read that text at the top there. There is glare on the screen obviously, which doesn't help you and certainly doesn't help me, but even without that, it's just white text on a very light background and it's really small, but I can read the tracks better from this page within the booklet here. So track number 1 is one of my all-time favourite Oasis songs, Acquiesce. That was a B-side 4, and it does tell you what all the A-sides were in these so-called subject reports here. Wonderful track. I love the juxtaposition of Liam doing the verse and Noel doing the chorus. An absolutely amazing song. Track 2, Underneath the Sky. For me, that was always not a bad B-side. It was good, but just compared to some of the others, a little bit on the weak side. But This album, it was compiled almost perfectly. If I was in charge of compiling it, I might have done it slightly different. Maybe Underneath the Sky would have been replaced by a different Oasis B-side, because I'd collected all the singles back in the day. I was familiar with them all. Number 3 is Talk Tonight, which is a very famous non-single from Oasis, because it's one Noel Gallagher's talked about a lot, about how he wrote that in some woman's apartment in LA or somewhere in California maybe, when he'd temporarily quit Oasis during one of their US tours of the mid-90s. And a beautiful acoustic driven ballad. Track 4 is Going Nowhere, which I believe was the B-side for Stand By Me from Be Here Now, I think. I'm just trying to consult the booklet here. Yes, it was, from 1997, of course. One of the better B-sides from the Be Here Now era, which is kind of Marmite to a lot of people. But I personally do like Be Here Now as an album, and while I don't think the B-sides overall were as strong as they were for the singles from the first 2 albums, Going Nowhere was decent. Track 5, Fade Away, excellent. Number 6, The Swamp Song. Yes, that featured in its full length on the CD single for Wonderwall, of course, back in late 95. But you heard snippets of it on the Morning Glory album itself. Number 7, the live version of I Am the Walrus. They're very proud of that. It was kind of like an early cover, an early standard for Oasis. And it featured on, what single was that? Was that Cigarettes and Alcohol? Yes, it was. Number 8, Listen Up. I do really like Listen Up. That's a brilliant song that could have been an A-side, could have been a single in its own right for me. Number 9, Rocking Chair. Once again, a kind of more, I wouldn't say overly gentle, but a little bit more of a slower paced one, with more acoustic elements at the forefront. And I always really like that as well. Number 10, Half the World Away. Another Noel Gallagher sung, acoustic driven, almost ballad, and of course it's received a wide audience over the past 25 plus years as the theme tune to the excellent BBC comedy The Royal Family. Number 11 is It's Good to Be Free. That was a B-side on Whatever in 1994. It was okay, that. Not one of my favourites on this. Track 12 is Stay Young, which was the B-side for the rather overblown, and some would say self-indulgent comeback single in 97, You Know What I Mean. You could argue Stay Young was stronger than the A-side. Like that a lot. Track 13 is Head Shrinker, bit of a punky effort if memory serves. And the album closes with the title track and what I believe was another B-side off Wonderwall, The Masterplan, another beautiful Noel Gallagher sung track. There's some real anthems on here, and it showed the kind of embarrassment of riches almost that Oasis, and in particular Noel Gallagher as the principal songwriter, had during this period, where he was putting out B-sides that really should have been saved over for future albums, future singles really. They were that good. But it just goes to show that the Masterplan, even though it's only a compilation, is well worth having. Even if you're not a massive Oasis fan, this is an album that you will enjoy as a casual listener. Fantastic stuff. So that was a look at the Masterplan by Oasis. Thank you all for watching Minidisc Monday today. Special thanks go to my subscribers and patrons. I'm going to go now. Please join me again in a fortnight's time, that's 2 weeks, for the next exciting edition of Minidisc Monday. Cheers everyone. See ya!